This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, Winston Peters tour bus rolled into the Tiwai Point aluminium smelter at sunrise, making promises to workers. Fire and Emergency believe they've got an 800 hectare scrub fire under control near Macraes. And National Party's deputy leader says COVID level 2 restrictions are still necessary in the south. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Sophie Morris. New Zealand First Leader Winston Peters says his plan to save Tiwai is all about telling the truth. Visiting workers at the smelter this morning, the veteran politician was fully in campaign mode.
The Winston Peters juggernaut rolled into Tiwai Point first thing this morning. As the sun rose over Tiwai Point, Peters assured workers they're not in a sunset industry.
I know it's shift change time, and one group is going in and one group's coming out. But I'm interested in talking to you about you coming in and going out of here for the next 2 decades if you want to. Because your industry and your jobs right here, right now, are under serious threat.
Peters and his Back Your Future campaign tour bus are on a southern crusade, visiting Matilda and Invercargill yesterday, talking with people about their local issues. He says there are more than 2,500 jobs on the line and around $450 million at stake.
This industry is in trouble. They're already saying that you should be phased out and that they've got alternative ways of using the power. That story, of course, is a lie.
Tiwai Point has again been under the threat of closure. In July, parent company Rio Tinto announced plans to wind the plant down. Acknowledging stress the workers are under, the smelter's general manager says team members are sticking together.
And it's nice to see the performance on site. People are supporting each other as well as we can.
During today's visit, Winston Peters described Tiwai as being one of the cleanest aluminium producers in the world. However, the dross, a byproduct of aluminium manufactured at Tiwai Point, is being stored at Matilda, causing fear for many residents. Peters says the company needs to remove its dross faster than it is, as it was dumped without resource consent in 2015. At Tiwai Point, the South Today.
3 people are injured, including 2 seriously, after an explosion at a building in Invercargill this afternoon. Emergency services were alerted to the incident on a residential street in the suburb of Rockdale just before 1:30 p.m. A Fire and Emergency New Zealand spokesperson says 2 fire crews were sent to the house where they had to put out a fire in the kitchen. 3 occupants at the house had been taken to hospital by ambulance. A St John spokesperson said 2 people with serious injuries were taken to Southland Hospital. Another patient was treated at the scene for minor injuries. Winds have eased as fire crews battle an out-of-control blaze near Macraes, inland from Palmerston. The fire started as a controlled burn, but quickly went beyond the intended boundary, going out of control. Several helicopters and 5 ground crews were tackling the fire this morning, but by afternoon, aerial efforts had been reduced to 2 helicopters. Crews were called to the Tussock fire at about 6:30 a.m, and incident controller Mike Harrison says all the crews are fighting hard.
We are making progress, we're making very good progress, so our ground crews and our pilots and helicopter ground crews are doing an amazing job to bring this fire up and contain it in these weather conditions.
Harrison says there is no threat to property and crews have ensured power lines which provide power to the Macraes township are protected. Strong, warm northerly winds fanned the flames early on, with the fire covering more than 800 hectares. Harrison is hopeful a predicted southerly change will bring rain to dampen the fire. The backers of a multi-million hotel development in Invercargill are pleased with how it's progressing. The foundations are laid and the Langlands Hotel is beginning to reach for the stars. Invercargill Licensing Trust Chief Executive Chris Ramsey, Lee's Construction Senior Project Manager Paul Brayley and others surveyed the site from the 4th floor. Brayley says the foundation stage was the easy part. He says all on site have worked as a team and they're looking forward to the fit out stage, from joinery to windows, carpets and more. The South may be COVID-19 free, but National's Deputy Leader says level 2 restrictions are still necessary. With the election campaign back in full swing, National Party Deputy Leader Jerry Brownlee made a flying visit to Dunedin yesterday, alongside local hopefuls Michael Woodhouse and Liam Kernahan.
Hot on Winston Peters' smoking heels, National Party Deputy Leader Jerry Brownlee visited Dunedin yesterday. While Peters questioned the level 2 status of the South Island, Brownlee is using a different filter to the New Zealand First Leader.
Well, we've seen it. We've gone from a supposed 3 down to a 2.5 in Auckland. I'm not sure what 2.5 is, but maybe there's scope for a 1.5 or something else here in the South Island. So it's the criteria for how you set the levels that is the thing that we should be putting most effort into.
Brownlee isn't concerned about Aucklanders travelling to places like Queenstown, despite the outbreak in the north.
Well, I think that's why we've still got level 2 across the country, and I think it is important that New Zealanders are able to move around as freely as they can, or freely as they would wish, in their own country. So I don't have too much of a problem with that. I think as long as people are sensible, they recognise the symptoms, and they get tested.
Flanked by candidates Woodhouse and Kernahan, Brownlee visited Fairfield's Tuapeka Gold Print, where they heard how the business had been affected by COVID-19. In June, the business expected to cut 110 jobs.
It's tough at the moment, very tough. And you see that the quite emotional expression by the guys who are running this business and the owner about having to lay off staff. And that's happening, unfortunately, right across the country. And it's not easy, it's tough. But they're holding things together by taking that innovative approach, looking for what their new markets and the new post-COVID world can be like.
Brownlee wouldn't be drawn on the subject of Matariki's public holiday, whether it should be an additional day or replace an existing one.
What's attractive about it is a totally New Zealand South Pacific thing, and perhaps we, as we mature as a nation, need a bit more of that.
He says the challenge now is knowing what the next 3 years will look like for New Zealand. In Dunedin, The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today, the Hot Salt Water Pool undergoes its annual spruce up, and we meet the 11-year-old fundraising for Starship.
Hi, Alec Campbell Menswear. We're back in George Street on the corner of Hanover Street. Come and check out our big store. It's a big space full of bargains. Now look at these shirts. There's shirts for everybody here. Look at these merino pullovers, stacks of moleskins, literally tons of trousers. Check out these big racks of sports jackets. Beautiful.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So come and check out Alec Campbell Menswear. We're back on George Street in the old ANZ building.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Welcome back. When 11-year-old Charlie Stevenson was diagnosed with a heart condition 2 months ago, he was told to avoid any activities that might raise his heart rate. While he waits for surgery in Auckland, he's been keeping himself busy at home, baking biscuits as a fundraiser.
While 11-year-old Charlie Stevenson waits around home before his heart surgery at Starship Children's Hospital in Auckland, he and his mother are busy baking chocolate chip cookies as a fundraiser. And so far they've raised over $6,000 for Starship Hospital.
Yeah, so we've just been blown away by the amount of support that we've had. Initially, Charlie, how much money did you reckon that we might be able to raise when we first started?
$500. Then we thought we could do better, and we said $1,000.
Charlie admits the money raised could buy him a good number of milkshake machines, but he's determined every penny will go towards the hospital.
Just because it's a good cause to raise money for Starship.
Because Charlie's gluten intolerant, he can't taste any of the biscuits he's making, but he says there's plenty of other people around the house who can check the quality of his baking.
My brothers and dad taste them.
Bake It Better for Starship is an annual campaign, now in its second year, raising funds to support children from around New Zealand who need specialist care. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The Hot's Hot water pool at the beachfront of St Clair in Dunedin is undergoing its annual spruce up. The open-air pool complex has been lying dormant over winter and accumulated a lot of sand washed in during winter storms.
Dunedin's St Clair hot salt water pool looks a mess after the annual closure over winter, but it's now being spring cleaned before reopening to the public next month. DCC maintenance worker Dave Brooks says the amount of sand they'll have to clean out is about the same as other years.
We've got to shovel all the sand out and clean the place up. This has been dormant all winter, of course, yeah.
Brooks says it will take until the end of next week to remove all the sand that's been washed in by winter storms.
Then after that we have to water blast the whole bottom and then clean it with cleaner, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
The complex is the only surviving salt water pool of several in Dunedin from the late 1800s. The facility also includes a paddling pool for toddlers, and a mixture of salt and chlorinated water in both pools is heated to about 28 degrees.
It's a great facility, and it's really nice when she's operational in summer. No, it's good.
The hot salt water pool is set to reopen on the 1st of October. In Dunedin, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, a sports day for all abilities is held in Dunedin, and we check out tomorrow's weather.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Step into Shop on Carol and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Hi, Al Campbell Menswear. We're back in George Street on the corner of Hanover Street. Come and check out our big store. It's a big space full of bargains. Now look at these shirts. There's shirts for everybody here. Look at these merino pullovers, stacks of moleskins, literally tons of trousers. Check out these big racks of sports jackets. Beautiful.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So come and check out Alex Campbell Menswear. We're back on George Street in the old ANZ building.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
Welcome back. The Otago All Ability Sports Day was held in Dunedin yesterday. The event gives young people with physical, visual and hearing impairments an opportunity to try a range of sports.
Organised by the Hellberg Foundation, the Otago All Ability Sports Day is a chance for kids to try out a smorgasbord of different sports, including walking ripper rugby, tabletop cricket and adaptive football. Lead advisor of the foundation, Bridget Meyer, says they work towards enhancing the lives of physically disabled young people.
So today's all about, it's called an Everybody In Day, so it was an opportunity to come together. Obviously we haven't seen a lot of these guys this year just because of the situation that we all find ourselves in. So we've got 3 sports codes that have come along to join us: Otago Rugby, Football South and Otago Cricket.
To introduce them to the sport, each code does an hour-long session.
Well, just to have a go and introduce themselves to the sport and introduce themselves to the coaches so that if they want to carry on, then they've got a nice connection has been made.
Maya says they are big on collaborating with coaches of different sports.
If we've got a sport that wants to find ways to include young people with impairments into the work that they do, then we'll work with that club and we'll train their coaches up and sort of educate them on how they can do inclusive activities.
Maya says despite things being uncertain, they always have plans for future sports days. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Winston Peters tour bus rolled into Tiwai Point aluminium smelter at sunrise, telling workers the smelter is a bottom line issue. Fire and Emergency believe they've got an 800 hectare scrub fire under control near Macraes and are thankful for a break in the weather. A National Party's deputy leader said COVID level 2 restrictions are still necessary in the south on a visit to Dunedin. And time now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Hayden.
Good evening, Sophie. How are you?
Very good. Yourself?
Good. We start tonight with a very interesting looking sandwich. This is the bat out of Howe, I guess because it'll be gone when the morning comes. It's won New Zealand's best toasty, believe it or not, from good old hungry hobos in Dunedin. It's got all sorts of stuff in there: meatloaf, mashed potato, gravy, pickles. I can't wait to eat one personally, and I think the queues will be round the corner. So there's a great yarn on that. And all sorts of other interesting stuff today. More fires. Gee, it's been a busy couple of weeks for our fire services. There's been another couple of big fires today. High country farmers asked to be very careful of burn-offs. Obviously, that's how a couple of these have started. The landfill, obviously a big issue now is the future of the Dunedin landfill, the new landfill proposal at Smooth Hill. We've got some landowners up there who are ready to take it all the way to the Environment Court to try to stop the landfill, as they're concerned it's going to leach into wetlands up there. Waitakere Hospital, another ongoing story. The buildings at Waitakere Hospital are clearly not really fit for service anymore, and the SDHB CEO saying in an ideal world they'd be demolished, but a solution's about 15 years away, so another big issue for people. And there's a couple of interesting sports stories. The Otago Cricket Association doing some restructuring. COVID-19, of course, has had an effect on many sports organisations, and it's only going to keep happening for probably the next year or two. And also Glenn Turner, the Otago cricket great and New Zealand cricket great, talking about how the focus should come back on domestic cricket now, with international cricket really suffering an uncertain time. We don't know when there'll be international sport of any sort back in New Zealand really. And he's saying we should really focus on the domestic game and try and get that back up and running. So all that and some other interesting bits and pieces which should keep our readers amused and entertained, hopefully.
Right, perfect. Thank you, Hayden. And time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, spring blossom in Lower Stewart Street opposite the courthouse. Looking at the situation, a day of very cold weather tomorrow as airflow will bring wintry showers to the region, and it will remain cold on Friday. The weekend should see some milder days and fine weather. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport is set for a 13-degree high with cloud in Greymouth and rain in Westport. Across to the northeast, rain for the area with 12 degrees in Blenheim and 14 in Nelson. In Canterbury, rain with 11 degrees in Kaikoura, 9 degrees in Christchurch and 10 in Ashburton. To the southern towns, all areas can expect moderate southwesterlies and showers. 8 degrees for the Catlins and Balclutha, 7 degrees for Lumsden and Gore. In central, moderate southwesterlies and showers clearing, 7 degrees for Queenstown and Wanaka and 8 degrees in Alexandra and Te Anau. To the northern towns, moderate southwesterlies and showers, 10 degrees in Timaru, 9 degrees in Oamaru. Inland you can expect 8 degrees in Twizel and Omarama. In Dunedin, becoming fine tonight with southwesterlies and an overnight low of 5. Sunny periods at first tomorrow, but cloud increasing and showers developing from the middle of the day with fresh, cold southwesterly winds. Some hail is likely, a high of 9 and a low of 4. Showers clearing on Friday and sunny periods increasing with very cold southwesterlies dying out, a high of 9 and a low of 0. And in Invercargill, showers tonight with strong cold southwesterlies and an overnight low of 5. Cloudy with wintry showers tomorrow and fresh, very cold southwesterlies, a high of 8 and a low of 3. Becoming fine and sunny on Friday with cold southwesterlies dying out, a high of 9 and a low of 0. That's all for our news this Wednesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.